Yeah, welcome back to the lunch table. Food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. You already know where to hit that subscribe button, man. Shout out to my next guest. Came all the way from New York specifically for this interview.
Specifically, bro. Yeah,
He came for hella other shit,
This is the
too.
most important thing to do, bro.
You know what it is,
moment.
man.
Yo,
Radamiz,
appreciate you,
what's
bro.
good, bro?
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming, man. I remember, I think Brandon had actually sent me your music, and I was like, thank God that Boom Bap is still alive and all the storytelling and everything, man. Like, and all of that definitely originates from New York. You guys just want to keep that style going and going and going. Do you ever feel like that's gonna get played out? The style of Boom Bap rap?
I mean, it's tough because I necessarily don't subscribe to like boom bap, but I understand what's being said. It's like it's regional sounding. It's 80 BPMs. It's like rhymes. You know what I'm saying? I get that, but I think New York was bred on lyricism. New York is bred on storytelling. New York is bred on like the competitive nature, and it's like even being out here, I understand Snoop better. I understand Dom Kennedy better. I understand Short Line Mafia better, like because it's just what breeds like what the city sounds like. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if you mean like sounding like New York, no, I'll never not sound like New York because that's something I'm not even conscious of. Like I'm not consciously trying to make something that sounds like boom bap. I'm just making music that sounds authentic to what I see and how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And what the world needs more of. So
I mean, you're rocking the New York hat too, bro. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I don't know how much more New York you can get.
Nah, you can get super New York if you want to, but I mean, that it's just like you can't help it but be from the Bay, you know what I'm saying? And your slang and your dance moves and your taste.
You know
what I'm saying? Like I know, and it's the same shit with New York. You know what I'm saying? So it's like as an artist, my thing is like how do you like Kendrick Lamar sounds like LA, but it sounds like LA that the world can hear. And that's my thing. I don't want to sound like New York only for New York. It's like I want to be a representation of like my culture and my hometown and the sounds and what raised me, but make sure that it's Russia could feel me, Hong Kong could feel me, London could feel me, the Bay could feel me, LA could, you know what I'm saying? LA could feel me, Houston could feel me, like, and that's where I feel like is the important part.
And I feel like that's always the hardest thing for an artist who's truly dedicated to their craft to do, because we find that if an artist is from New York or an artist is from the Bay or Los Angeles or Atlanta, it's so easy for them to get pigeonholed into, oh, well, you're just an Atlanta rapper, you're just a New York rapper, you're just a Bay and LA rapper.
I think, but a lot of that comes with like your perspective and what it is that you want to bring to the table and newness and refreshing the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to sound like all my beats were on Mobb Deep's Hell on Earth album. Like maybe one, you know what I'm saying? Like, you come through, that's hard enough. But but it's also my responsibility to expand what that New York sound even is. Like I feel like even now, like to sound like you're from New York is not what that meant 7 years ago. It's definitely not what that meant 15 years ago, because Pop Smoke sounds like New York to me. French Montana sounds like New York to me. Cardi B sounds like New York to me. A Boogie sounds like New York to me. Radamiz sounds like New York to me. Casanova sounds like New York to me. Dave East sounds like New York to me. So it's like, what does that even mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, we're all in this, and this wave and this generation is like expanding what that sounds like, because it's the slang, it's the references. It's more than just, man. You know what I mean? So
it's more than just the way the sonics are, I guess you can say. Because even Bobby Brackens, for example, he's song written for like Tinashe and Chris Brown and all these artists, right? And what I appreciate about him is the fact he will throw in some Bay Area slang, like here and there, and that's when you know, like, oh, okay,
I'm waving this flag too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I do for like the Dominicans. You know what I'm saying? Like my shit, like representing the Latino aspect of mine. It's like I can't just be out here like super Latino all day, y'all. Like, but I'm gonna throw that conversation into my music, so whoever picks up on it knows that I'm talking and speaking for them and with them, but not so much that I'm saying it pigeonholes.
Like
me
I guess it doesn't sound like it would be from the DR,
right? But but it's in there.
It is in there. Facts. Speaking of the DR, you were actually just there, right? You filmed your Know My Name video, man.
Yeah, Fifth God shot that. That's the
that's the guy.
Yeah, that's him.
That's
right
the
there.
Fifth guy.
Yeah,
oh shit, that's him.
Yeah, that's Fifth God. Yeah, I mean,
the Fifth God, man.
Yeah, we actually shot that May 2018. We just held that down. I was just there to like reconnect with fam and like get some shit done, but I did the VIM video, which was like the first single from the album, and then right after that, honestly, we did the Know My Name video. Like the song wasn't even mixed, it wasn't even the final production, how you hear it, mastered, cleared, nothing. But I knew there was that specific window where I was like, yo, like I'm gonna fly you out. We're gonna just shoot this video. I'm gonna pay for it all myself.
Yeah.
And we just need to create this and hold it down. Like, we also knew that, like, yo, I'm gonna just hold this shit down. And he actually said it. People are gonna think we just shot it, but we've had that for a minute. I knew that was gonna be like a centerpiece for my joint.
Yeah. Why'd you hold it for so long?
Because it meant too much. It didn't feel like a second single. It didn't feel like you didn't know what the album title is yet. It felt like, nah, you heard the album. Honestly, the plan was right before the album, the day of the album, a little bit after the album, but it always felt like, nah, when you have the album title, when you know what the track list is, when you've met me enough through the singles, you know what I'm saying, and seen that, now you get to, like, see who my grandmother is.
Yeah.
Now you get to see, you know what I'm saying, my where my father was raised. Now you get to see my cousins who you may never meet. Now you get to see, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I want to introduce you a little bit to who I am before that. It's not just like the first thing, because then it's no incentive to actually get to know me.
So how was it like for you being in a situation where, you know, that's where your grandmother currently is, that's where your father grew up?
Yeah.
Because I remember going back to the Philippines, and it was kind of like this weird vibe of nostalgia that I never really knew existed, because this is where my family grew up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for me, it's always just educating me on, like, my morals, educating me on, like, the difference between economic status, what priorities are,
right?
What priorities are, though, you know, what a working class looks like in different countries. But it also just opened my mind. You know what I mean? It made sure, like, there's a lot of people who are from their hometowns and never really travel out until they're in their late teens and their 20s. They never know what another city is really like. And for me, I was blessed to, like, have always experienced another way of life from inception. You know what I'm saying? I go to DR once or twice a year still.
Nice.
So it's like that's definitely, like, just opened my eyes up to the world. You know what I mean?
Does it kind of make you feel like we have a lot more stuff given to us over here in the U.S.?
Absolutely. And it's also a smaller world than we make it seem too. Like, I go to DR and I hear Wiz Khalifa too. I go to DR and they know about, and, you know, I go to DR and they're playing me Mobb Deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, oh, all right. Like, just because you think you're just speaking to your neighbor, you think you're just speaking to your block, and it's like there's a lot of points of entry that somebody could relate to you. And I think that's the illest shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see the cross blending of cultures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I think especially if your family members and your family members who have spread your music around in that area, they probably look at you and just be like, wow, like, there's something outside of here that we can do. There's something outside of the DR that's a lot bigger than what we imagine.
Yeah, and it's also just like, but it's also representing a different type of success. Like, you know, what I try to do is, like, normalize what stardom and what being an artist and what
like
having fame looks like. Like, most people, you know, I'm raised with, like, the expectations are, like, successful means you own a bodega, successful means you own a supermarket chain, successful means you're a successful barbershop, taxi business, whatever, but they don't know what that looks like as an artist. You know, the closest we have are baseball players. Like, if somebody's into baseball, they're like, all right, we understand what that path looks like, because there's mad Dominican nice baseball players. But being an artist outside of, like, reggaeton and, like, trap shit and in the club shit, I have to, like, educate them on, like, nah, I gotta represent y'all in this way too. I have to expand what it is to be, like, a Dominican artist. Like, you can't just be in the club or swinging a bat as your art. You know what I mean? Like, I could be sophisticated. I can be aware of the art world. I can be knowledgeable on hip hop, and I can present something new in this way and expand, you know what I'm saying, our representation.
Well, I think it also depends on a person's idea of
and
what
I'm sure that goes
success
for
is.
everybody. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's not just the norm. You know what I mean? Like, you know what that feels like of having that responsibility. You know?
But I mean, you know, I think it goes back to what people's definition of success is, right? Like, I remember mentioning Coda the Friend to you, like, right before this, and speaking to him, he was talking about how, like, bro, this is what success is. I can go perform somewhere in New York in front of, like, 100 people, hop on the subway, no one will know me. I can stroll back home peacefully, go back to my kid, go back to my girl, and that's success.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like, it's so crazy to me how you can be in front of, like, 500 people and you're known by everybody. Then outside of that, you can just still be a regular human being where no one's really going to bother you.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm looking at that point of success like, you know what, that is successful, because you basically get your cake and you eat it too.
Well, it's about not comparing yourself. And that's the thing, like, that's the consistent theme. Like, my successful to me doesn't mean next to what success looks like in this way. It's like, no, what are your goals? What is your mission? how much money do you actually need? How much views, how much income needs to be generated to create, but still pay your rent. And if you want to buy a nice couch, you can afford it. And it's like, all right, how much in the public access do you want to, like, how much accessibility do you want the public to have to you? And if you can figure out what that means to you, I don't need to know that Drake's went #1 again. I don't need to know the Beatles records. I don't need to know, you know what I'm saying? They broke a Spotify streaming, like, because that has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Like, what does it look like in your own pace? What do you want to? How do you want to be remembered as a creator? What do you want your legacy to stand for? And yeah, exactly. Like, how do you want to interact with fame and all of those things?
So correct me if I'm wrong, man. Is success to you initially getting Timberland hand-me-downs and then finally getting endorsed by them?
Exactly. Something like that, where it's like, you know, that's a tangible trajectory, tangible upwards trajectory. It's like, wow, like, I can do that, but it's not just the material of like getting some boots, but it's that I brought you to some of the projects to shoot that my parents are in it, that my friends are in it, that I directed one of the shots, that, you know what I'm saying, my girl's in that. That's like crazy. And my music, one of the songs being like used for it is a song that I made in 2014. And then the other one is VIM, that's on my album.
That's
like,
crazy.
So it's like now we're all, that's the success. Cause I could have just done it and it's not that it's wrong, but I could have just showed up. You know what I'm saying? They put some makeup on my face, and I say hi to with a shirt, and then we kept it pushing. But I got paid to do a small doc on me. That's success. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy,
so
bro.
and it's
that's
like,
respect.
You know what I mean? And
Good shit.
and you know, and that's the same thing. It's like that's successful to me. You know what I mean? It's like I get to represent and put on. Like I specifically was like, now we need to shoot in Sumner. I specifically was like, let me put. You know what I'm saying? People who are around me and have seen me like rise up and grow up and mature.
Let me just help bring everybody.
So now it's
too.
not just Timberland. Now it's all of us being represented. You know.
Yeah,
and that's the real shit to me.
You know, since we're on the topic of, you know, you directing like your own stuff and whatnot. I was on your Twitter, and just recently, Day in Vegas happened, right? And then J. Cole had that whole the fall off 2020 visual, and I saw that you retweeted it. And I wanted to ask you, like, what exactly was your role in the creation of that video?
Well, he directed it too. That's Fifth God as well. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have
the
a
Fifth God, bro. My guy. If I had a third mic, I need you on here, bro.
It sounds like you're a fan of Fifth God too, man. That's dope.
100%, bro.
So he helped direct that. We just showed up and it was me. History was in it. Cumber didn't show up that day. Brandon was in something else, but it didn't make the final cut.
Damn.
But like, no, that was honestly like Fifth's vision. Like he you know, he's been doing some work with like Dreamville people, and they had this idea for a campaign, and they needed some people in it, and it ended up just being that we're the only people that showed up for that specific shot. So it's just like. It's a funny way how it goes, how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like,
showing up is half the battle, people.
Yeah, it's like, and then that was ill because then it's just us. We were just playing shooting dice. That's all. That's the only thing we did. Funny. You know what I mean? But you know, we have other relationships, obviously within the Dreamville shit. But specifically, yeah, that was a Fifth Guy alley-oop. You know,
that's what's up,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Anybody in Dreamville ever hear your music that you know of?
Yeah.
There we go. We're just gonna keep it down. You know, he's like, yeah, you know,
absolutely.
Of course they have.
Yeah, man. No, and not of course, but you know what it is. Yeah,
I feel you.
So, a lot. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who I respect have heard me, but that doesn't mean they're gonna make it public information yet.
I feel you, bro.
Until it's time.
How your upbringing in New York? How do you get into music and directing and the videography and everything that you do, bro? Because even your if I go back on your catalog, you go as far back as like 2011 on Spotify. At the very least, right?
Sure.
So you've been doing your thing for a minute now.
Yeah, I mean, the music just comes from general interest. It comes from finding myself. It comes from discovering myself through that medium. And I mean, originally my like childhood dream was to be like a painter. So then it's like, I knew I wasn't shit. I probably am nicer now, but I was just, you know, back then you were really ill as an artist if you drew a bear perfectly or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I got discouraged. But nonetheless, it's crazy how like disenfranchised my dream was back then, but how much that is so recurrent now where I have such an emphasis on the art and the representation. And not only that, but like, as I learn about hip hop more, I understand, you know, you get into cover art and like you see how that sways your impression of a song, or you know, you see a music video like super duper, like The Rain, Missy Elliott is like one of my favorite hip hop videos ever. And it's like, wow, like look how that brought this song to life and made me understand it more. So now I pay attention to directing, and now I pay attention to costume, and now I pay attention to, you know what I'm saying, panning and colors and all of. So it's like the more you become a fan, the more you do what you do, the more you become a fan of everything.
Oh, of course.
You know what I'm saying? The iller you become as a rapper, the more you like Toni Morrison, and the better you become at, you know what I'm saying, directing. You're like, oh damn, like, oh look at all these amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear you.
You just like your interest in your craft educates you and makes you a fan of like just the world. So I feel like that's just what it is. Like the more I got just in tune with like my artist, the more I'm just, you know, open.
Well, that's why when I
music
look at
discovery,
your music,
everything, yeah.
when I look at your music videos, bro, like it made me think about like, you know, like a basic ass hip hop music video. You get like 3 angles, motherfucker rapping to the camera,
And that's it.
and then I remember I can't remember what music video it was, but then I think you were talking about like anxiety, and you just said, oh, I think it was New York, New York. You were right.
Uh-huh.
And like with all the flash images just happening, and I
Yeah.
was just like, and he's talking about anxiety too,
Yeah.
like that's how it's part of it, bro.
Yeah,
And
we co-directed that one too. My boy, shout out to Brick. You know what I'm saying? He's like, that was his first music video, and his style, like he's a photographer who works in loneliness. You know what I'm saying? Like he works in darkness. He works in like
damn, bro.
dark, and then you're the only thing that's lit up in the room. And you know, he's been one of my photographers since like 2013, 2014. So when it came time to like shoot New York specifically, it was like, yo, like let's just
Go ham.
Let's just go crazy. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna show you how to shoot a music video, and you're gonna show me how to bring color and portray a specific mood. And you know what I'm saying? My man Act helped us with the editing and putting it all together. And that's just collaboration on all fronts.
I see
you know?
what you're doing now,
Yeah.
bro. You're a very hands-on type of guy, I can tell now.
Yeah.
So like when something is happening, right? I feel like you're the type of person to kind of just be in the room and also observe like, hey, how are you doing this? How are you doing that?
Yeah. Like even New York specifically, like we shot a bunch of the shots in that, editing it together. It's like, all right, damn, the last 2 bars of the first verse and the beginning of the second verse, we don't have anything. Let's just shoot it now. You know what I mean? Literally, like, all right, it's 3 a.m. We're in Chinatown. Let me because we know exactly what we want now. You know what I'm saying? And with that, it's like, yeah, but it's also trusting each other. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not the top guy when I'm creating. Like, maybe in one specific project, I did have more of a hand, or this specific project, somebody else. But I think it's all about just like trusting the people that you employ. It's trusting the people that you like keep around you. And Brick didn't know about cutting a video, timing lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, for these 2 bars, we can't have it pop up later because it's gonna be boring. Like, I had to show him how to shoot a full music video, but then he showed me how he portrays emotion and how he sees tensity and how he sees anxiety, and now it's like, you know, it's just trusting each other, man.
So roughly, how long do you think it took for you guys to edit that New York video?
Damn, bro, that was a lot of footage, man.
It was a lot of footage, man.
It probably took like a month or something like that, like, because we were shooting it for a minute too, and that's the thing. We would pop out, and it's like, oh, I have a show at Kinfolk, and then that only turns into 2 seconds of a video, and he had a lot of shit himself. Like, he was shooting like people do coke on the video. Like, I don't know, man. It was a lot. It was live performance in it. It's like, you know, like going up to the Apollo and it's pouring fucking rain, and it's like, all right, we shot for an hour and that only lasts 3 scenes
3 seconds
and
or something.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of that. It was a lot more shooting than because editing he's used to more, but obviously music videos is different. But it was on and off, bro, for like a month.
Well, I'm happy to know that you're super dedicated to your work, man.
Yeah.
Considering that record was talking about anxiety, is that something that you go through on a daily?
Don't we all in some way?
In some way.
And it's not like I don't always feel that anxious, but you know, everybody has. There's good anger and there's bad anger, and for me, like, good anger is something that you know what you're mad about, and then there's a safe way to express that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like I know what it is, and here's my outlet that I can, like, instead of punching the wall or being a dick to my friends, you know what I'm saying? I can, like, just write it in a song and just perform it that way. You know what I mean? And I think that's just healthy, like finding those healthy practices.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't always feel like New York, but in the moment I do, I go make that song to let it out, you know?
Yeah. Because then I feel like you're definitely the definition of somebody who uses music as that outlet to get your creative juices out there.
Yeah.
Like you're the type of person to get a DJ on track number 1. And
Yeah,
fucking,
that's Cupboard. That's him right there. Yeah.
So is this
And History produced New York, New York. That's who. Yeah.
History was on the album too, right?
He's co-executive producer. He helped me on tracks 1 through 8 directly, and then obviously the whole album. Though,
so do you have like somebody just like tucked away in the car or something that did something else for the album? Like
nah, nobody's in the car, but yeah.
I like that though. Like everybody in here, y'all don't see this, but everybody in here has done something for that album.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see.
I mean,
that
even
you
when
guys
we made
are
New York,
rocking
New York,
together,
it was like, bro, let's just make some shit that nobody could fuck with. Honestly, that was the original intention. It eventually became, but like when I heard the New York beat, it's like, I was at a party and I was just like, it was just too glitzy and it was nice, you know, but it was like, yo, what could we play that would just fuck up everything?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it really originally started like that. It was just like, yo, let's just make some fucking hard shit. And he just sent me the beat and it's just so ominous and present and drawn out. And I was like, I can't let this beat down. It's too good, you know?
I got to ask you this. How is the out-of-towner situation looking like in New York City? Because a lot of people will move to L.A. Just to kind of like grab the fruits of L.A.
Yeah.
And, you know, New York is obviously like another mecca of entertainment. So, like, is the outsiders moving in situation kind of like bothering
you? Know, my girl mentioned this to me. Like, we were talking about how people in privileged places outside of New York come in, right? And they come in around college and they show up, they have the money to afford the tuition, and then right away they stay in and they get they get a job and they get an apartment for a couple, and then they find their love and then they buy a place and then they leave when they're 35. But what happens to the New Yorker who didn't have the ability to move out, the ability to get the education, the ability to have the position because now this other person came in. So now it's like you're disenfranchising and taking away opportunities from people who live there and are from there. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the opportunities of their own home. So now they're 35 and all of y'all left, but they don't have the experience of the you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's weird in that sense because New York is full of a lot of people who are not from New York in the same way. So it's tough to like New York is definitely its own energy, and it's not like it's open to the world. You know what I'm saying? We leave a door open, but it's a little bit tough when you're there, you know what I mean, to like make sure that proper New York is being represented. Because I get it. If you live somewhere for 2 years, you feel like you're adopted by it. And New York is very contagious because it's like, it's a strong presence. You know you're in New York. You know what I mean? So people feel like they can claim that flag, but I don't know.
So then do you think having all that energy coming into the city has actually, I guess, prohibited you towards specific opportunities?
No, nothing limits me. There's nobody in my way. Absolutely not. No. I'm just talking about it in general. I'm just talking about the system that is New York. And if you are not sure of your, like New York, there's so much activity happening that it's very easy for you to be distracted by something else going on. But no, nobody's ever limited me. No.
I feel you, man.
But just it in general, though.
Yeah, I feel you. So New York has PayDay, you know, has spawned Jay-Z, Primo, Radamiz.
Yeah.
How do you get linked up with them?
Will Scott, you know what I'm saying? He was at Mass Appeal, and History worked at Mass Appeal with Will Scott. Put him on to my music. Will loved History as well, and you know, it didn't work out over there, and then Will went over to PayDay, and we kept that conversation going. I used to work in Soho, and then Mass Appeal switched their offices, so it ended up being right around the block from where I was working in my day job. So then I'd run into Will, and we just kept that conversation going. And by the time like he got over there and it was in a position, and they wanted to like sign some new acts, he brought me up to the A&R at the time, Adrian Nunez, and Adrian fucked with me, and that's just how it happens, you know.
Damn, man.
Word. The people around you, man, you got to select the right people around you, like, and that we're all helpful to each other. Like, it's not, I mean, I get to big them up because you're asking questions and literally they're right there. And
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, when you create a brotherhood and when you create a community of love and support and people who believe in the best version of yourselves that you're working towards, like, beauty happens, you know.
Well, at that point, it just becomes fun, too.
Oh, it's the illest. It's
like, yo,
we just doing it ourselves. Like, you know, in one way, shape, or form. Like, at some point, we take the baton again, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Because I feel like as creatives, it's so difficult to, you know, just do everything by yourself when you feel like the whole world is your oyster, basically.
It's impossible to do anything by yourself. But even people who think they can do it all by themselves, they didn't source the cotton in the T-shirt. They didn't build the table out of wood. Like, you know, they didn't chop down the tree themselves. They didn't put together the laptop themselves. Like, no, you're in a constant state of collaborating with somebody else's idea and work. So it's like, why not accept that into like your immediate circle and just your frame of mind when you're building, you know?
Right. I gotta shake your hand after that one, man. That was, that was a little gem ski.
It's real though.
You dig?
It's real. You can't be selfish, man. It's impossible.
So I think I saw an article on DJ Booth, and for your album in 2016, you actually dropped 13K.
Yeah, righteous.
So I gotta ask you. Were you just working a day job to accumulate all that money?
Yeah, I was working.
Where were you working?
Ralph Lauren. I worked at Rugby, Denim and Supply, Polo, for like 4 years maybe in total, and then opening ceremony. So it's not like I like had 13,000 in cash and then dropped it one day and like it was just but I kept all my receipts. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, that was just every as an artist, you take care of so much real life. Like I have this line in this new song that I say, I seen rent kill more rap dreams than the radio. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's real. You know, it's like your real human responsibilities day to day, like food, Metro card, rent, phone bill, your girl needs this, like this, your phone broke here, you got to fix that. Like just so much regular shit gets in the way of like investing into yourself. And for me, it just took a minute to like, I just put in money aside as much as I could, And
so how long do you mean by a minute? Like how long do you think you were taking to accumulate?
That took 4 years.
That took 4 years?
Yeah, that took 4 years of just like piece by piece. Because that's the thing, like you could end up finding the beat, getting the stems, recording vocals, changing the vocals, changing the beat, mixing it. I'm not going to use this on the album. So it's like, all right, you're paying $45 an hour this whole time. And it's like, all right, damn. And then, so it's, it takes a while, bro.
Damn, it sounds like you've been through that a couple times.
Well, that was like the mainstay. That was the main. I mean, like nothing changes. Like I definitely was on that path too. It's like this. It's like if you know that you have to do it, like there's only so long you can depend on excuses and other people's pity for you to like get help. It's like at some point you got to just be honest with yourself about what you can do and what you can't do. And it's like what you can do usually just feels very difficult because it breaks you away. It has to break you away from your current processing of information and current processing of opportunity. And it's like, I could really be doing this. I just have to sacrifice this. So I just had to be real with like, yo, like you don't always need to buy some shoes. You don't always need to go out to the party. You don't always need to, you know what I mean? Like put that shit towards your dream because that's what actually makes you feel happy.
I'm happy you went that route though.
Yeah.
And you saved up for 4 years for that 13 grand because I feel like nowadays everybody just wants that quick route.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get signed by a label because they're going to throw them this like huge advance that they'd never seen before and then just think like, all right, cool, all my problems are gone.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot different if you can sacrifice a lot during that 4 year span. Like whether you like, I don't know, whether you're eating like ramen noodles for the next like 4 years.
Yeah.
Just for that opportunity to be like, yo, like this album is fully paid and funded by me.
By me, yeah. And it's like, I was blessed because I didn't have to pay for beats. Like everybody who's on my... It's just us, you know what I'm saying? It's like the team around you and the collaborators. I didn't have to pay for features. Like it was more than 13,000 too. I forgot how I specifically like calculated it, but like nonetheless, like it's not a lot of money, but it's a lot of money also. Like for just a shot at the dark, like I still haven't made that money back. Like that album has not profited monetarily, you know what I'm saying? But you need to push it out into the world so people know who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? And it's like I can't wait. Like yo, once I get 250,000, like I'll be able to make the illest album ever. Like you got to prove that you can do that with $500.
Yeah,
you got to prove that you can do it with 1,000. Like I didn't buy studio equipment. Like mad people were like, the biggest critique I seen from people is like, man, you got to own the means of production, man. You got to just buy your own studio. It's like bitch, like I'm not paying to record my own shit. I'm paying for Chris Conway. You know what I'm saying? I'm not paying just to record shit. Like, yeah, I could record all day, but at that level of my career, like I needed to have the guy who did Marshall Mathers LP and Capital Punishment and recorded Biggie and recorded Pac and recorded Fat Joe to be telling me when my shit was off. Like to educate me on what it looked like. Maybe now, yeah, we could do that. You know what I'm saying? I just need him for mixing. Like, but like it's your own pace. You know what I'm saying? It's your own shit. Like you gotta just be like assess where the fuck you're at and what do you need to do.
I think it goes back to what you were saying, the value of like what exactly do you put value into? Like, all right, it's cool if you have like your own like home studio, whatever. But then if you're not getting that critique from people who have have like been through the trenches of some of the greatest people
saying,
in hip hop. It's like, bro, like you can easily like don't think of it as like you're paying them for advice, but you're paying for that time to just be with them and kind of like learn and like get some experience out of that.
Yeah, like sometimes if you break away and it's like, yo, Eminem used to do this with his voice, or like, yo, Rakim came in and he booked a month of studio time, but he didn't use anything until the last 3 days because he just needed time to just process everything. And when he came in 3 days, he recorded the whole album. Oh, damn. Oh, all right. Now I know Eminem's process. Now I know Rakim's process. Like, oh, Big Pun used to just do this. Like, I can't do that if I just buy my own studio. There's nothing wrong. Like, everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. Like, I had to assess what I need right now is guidance, and what I need is something that's professional, that we can just, like, make sure everything is top quality at its roughest stage, and, you know what I'm saying, exchange that information, you know?
Yeah,
it's important.
I feel you, man. Something that I've had to ask you.
And my mixing engineer is co-executive producer on my album, too. Same shit. Chris Conway, shout out.
Shout out Chris Conway, man.
Oh, shout out to Chris Conway, bro. Chris Conway with the Yeezys.
So, first of all, shout out to DJ Cutbird over there, man. He was killing it on shadow boxing.
Yeah.
But I do have to ask you,
Japanese
like,
Shogun.
I think it was like the first bar or like the second bar you had already said, like, you were looking in the bro. Sorry, am I being like way too specific?
No, it's good. It's good. I like how you say you just already said, like.
Yeah, bro, but like, you know, within like the first 1 or 2 bar, you just came out the cuts and you said you had like suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's something that's been taboo up until recently for, you know, folks to talk about. But, like, what was going on through your life when you were referring to that time?
Yeah, I think I can't speak for how everybody deals with it. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak on how everybody deals with their mortality. I can't speak on how everybody deals with facing death and their opinions on death. You know what I'm saying? I just had a homie, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So then it's like, when you have thoughts like that, what I'm referencing is, that song is referencing mortality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started off, long time coming, I'm home, long time humming this song, used to be suicidal. I saw my mother's face and watched the skin turn into Bibles. I saw my brother lose his heart, and that's the beat I write to. It's like, I bet, like, all right, right, like, let's get to the process, let's get to death, let's go to the honoring of the life around you. Yeah. And let's get to the how death has affected you. Right away. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because by the third verse, I say, lately I've been facing my mortality. Nobody ever told you that your parents gonna get older too. Like, now it's like, so that's what that song means to me. But for that specific line, it's like, I feel like everybody has very dark thoughts that never are verbalized. 100%. You have dreams that you'll never tell anybody. You'll have random daydreams like, yo, what if I just, and you're never going to verbalize it because those are not your thoughts. Mm-hmm. And that's what I learned. Like, a lot of these things, just because it popped up in your head does not make it your possession. If it pops up in your head and you choose to use it, then now you've selected that as something that is yours. So when I say it used to be suicidal, I'm talking about like, damn, is this shit even worth it? You know what I mean? Like, difficulty, I got to get older. I see sickness. I see, like, it doesn't mean I'm there, you know what I'm saying? But it means, like, I've contemplated, like, what is the point? Alan Watts speaks about that. You know what I'm saying? The philosopher Alan Watts, it's like, the only real question is, should you just end it now or not? Because you got to die anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I addressed it in the sense of, like, you know what? It is worth it to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my second verse, I ended, like, I admitted this dream is going to come true. In my third verse, I'm like, yo, I want to start a family. Yo, I honor the people who are my fans. Yo, I've seen, I don't know if my friend is passed or not. Like, yo, what's up? Let's talk. Like, you know what? It is worth it to stick it through. You know what I mean? So that, I speak it from that sense, you know?
You know, I actually don't ask too many people.
And I think it's necessary to mention that everybody's facing mortality questions and worth it to live because, you know.
It's normal.
And it's necessary to have it's healthy to have those conversations.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy to speak to your children about death. I think it's healthy to, like, face aging. I think it's, like, that's such a beautiful thing because it's part of life, you know?
Well, relatability is the one thing in which you make somebody feel like you know what they're saying. Like, you're understanding. Once we feel like we're a part of something, we feel a lot safer. And we're like, oh, well, I'm not the only person going through this type of shit.
So I say shit, that shit sticks out like a thorn, like 3 bars in, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like,
I mean, it did.
You know,
it did.
You know why? Because I don't know who needed to hear somebody else say that. You know, so usually you are not told when you have helped.
Damn.
You know, usually it's rare that somebody tells you, yo, when you said that to me, man, like that did this and this and this, like, but usually you're not, you know, usually, and it's the same way for you. Like, how often do you DM your favorite artist about that specific lyric that one time in this one moment in your life?
That's true.
You don't do that.
That's true.
They did it though, and they did that to you. So it's like, for me, I put that out in the world just to let somebody know, like, you know, you're not alone, you know.
Well, we're going to end it on that note, man. Shit, Radamiz. Sheesh.
All right, that's how
I don't know, man.
Bro.
Like, normally I'd be writing down numbers because that's where the gems are, but then the whole thing just seemed like a gem, and I'm just like, damn.
I appreciate you.
You know, you just have
like
so
that,
much. You have a lot going on, and I feel like we only just tapped the surface, but...
Yeah, hopefully it's just incentive for, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to anybody listening to this. Like, check out that album, Nothing Changes If Nothing Changes. You know, research everybody who I mentioned that's, like, part of my circle, because we're all in this together, and we're all great in our own right, and we exist around each other to help each other come to life and that, you know.
Amen to
and
that,
I encourage
man.
that in general for people, man. Seek out the people who want to see you in your best light.
Where can everybody find you?
My name is Radamiz. If you got here and you didn't see the name, you know what I'm saying? You type in my name. Yeah, you type in Radamiz, and however you ingest knowledge, you'll find me.
There you go. Well, this is the lunch table. Food for thought. I'm
Appreciate
Nico
you, bro.
Blitz, Radamiz.
Thank you, bro.
Nothing changes if nothing changes. And we are out.
Yay.